Hey guys, this is a proper task guide for the Punisher Part 6. For this task, you have to eliminate 15 PMC operatives while using an SVD rifle on any map excluding Factory, and then we also have to find, in-raid, and hand over 7 different BEAR and USEC dog tags. This task is one of the few that will allow you to upgrade your secure container, which will be greatly beneficial to a standard account player, as this will upgrade you from the 4-slot alpha container to the 8-slot Epsilon secure container. Just make sure that you do keep this Epsilon container even if you do have the Edge of Darkness, and start with the Gamma container, which is 9 slots total, because this Epsilon is also used on the task The Choice by Fence once you reach level 50. So definitely just throw it in your stash somewhere, just so that you have the choice to at least hand it in for the task once you hit level 50 later on. So firstly, I'll go over how I kitted up my SVDS for you guys. With the base cost being around 93k to buy a new one from Prapor, this task can definitely add up quickly. However, with the flea market, sometimes you can snipe a 100 durability one for much cheaper than what he sells it for. But just be aware that usually it's just some broken scav guns with horrible durability, so just be on the watch for that. And you can always risk it jamming or spend a little bit more to repair those scav guns, but that's totally up to you guys. Now, this build is just what I ended up using as a good mix of ergo and recoil versus cost, but obviously you can adjust this to your liking. If you do want to go full recoil control, it gets a little bit pricier, but that will definitely help if you are planning to keep all of your engagements at a distance. However, this build does have more emphasis towards adaptability, so it is all right for distance, but if somebody does surprise me and get up close, or if I get stuck in a close quarters fight, I felt like I could at least have a chance at winning and I wasn't dragging around a telephone pole inside of a building. One tip that I have for you guys, or at least something that I found made the task easier for me while I was doing it, is that I really only used one build of the gun the entire time, with minor alterations to the scope and whether or not I used a suppressor or not based upon which map that I was going to. Basically, this task is just cursed for me, so I knew that I was going to be trapped on it for a while, so I figured I may as well use the same build repeatedly and maybe I'll get used to it and then perform better. Another thing that you will notice is that I am running this gun loud, and that serves 2 purposes. The first one is to hopefully get this horrible task over with quicker by attracting more PMCs over towards me. And then the second reason is that there's more ergo for not putting a suppressor on. So for the smaller maps, which is basically everything except for Shoreline Woods or Lighthouse, I would definitely recommend running no suppressor. But if you are on one of those 3 big maps, then a suppressor is definitely what I would recommend. Just because on the other maps you are going to run into more close quarter engagements, and then I just want to attract PMCs my way and just kind of, like I said, try and get this task over with as soon as possible. Alright guys, so this is the budget build SVD that I was using, and to turn it into the recoil control meta SVD, then first you want to change the handguard to the SVD modernized, and then you want to take off the SVD low profile side mount so that you can add the SVD modernization kit top rail. After you add that, then you want to add the M-lock to the bottom of your handguard so that you can add your foregrip of your choice, and for recoil control the RK2 is the best, but just be aware that it will torch your ergo completely. Then I am going to add the SVD thread adapter, followed by the suppressor, which is the only muzzle attachment that you can add to the SVD. Then you're going to add your M-lock to the side of your handguard on whichever side of the gun that you prefer, and then you're going to add whatever laser that you want, but I definitely suggest running a laser in general, especially on this gun. In case you do run into somebody up close, then you can just have a lot more hip fire accuracy, as you probably won't have time to ADS with it. Then I'm going to switch out my buffer tube to the ARE and throw the Gen 3 stock on there for the best recoil control, and then lastly the AGS pistol grip for the best ergo possible. As for the sight, you can select anything that you are comfortable with, and obviously that is going to be also map dependent, but I will show you guys a quick trick. So usually when you do add a sight, you're going to lose between 1 and 5 ergo depending on what sight that you choose. However, if you do plan to keep it close quarters, then you can select this EKP, and then you're going to add the Cobra sight shade to it, which will actually gain you +1 ergo overall for adding a sight to your gun. Does it make sense? Absolutely not, but it is just something that will benefit your build rather than hinder it. So with the EKP trick, then you will be left with 7 ergo and 72 vertical recoil for this build. But another option that will keep your vertical recoil below 80 but greatly increase your ergo is to swap the RK2 for the SE5 foregrip, and then that will bring you to 23 ergo and 78 recoil. Now if you are building this gun completely from the ground up, including buying it from Prapor at 93k, then the total gun cost will be around 320k versus the budget build being half the price at about 160k. So I just showed you guys how the low recoil builds do make the gun much more expensive, and now I'll show you the difference that the ergo can make in terms of actually handling the weapon when you try to ADS. The low ergo build will be the suppressed version in this clip versus the build that I used, which is going to be loud, and then the low ergo build is definitely going to torch your arm stamina quicker. It also takes a lot longer to bring the gun up, and you actually get this weird gun sway when you do bring the gun up that makes it much more difficult to center on the target initially. Whereas with the higher ergo gun, it goes immediately to the target with no sway. But again, if you are planning to be tracking your enemies enemies from a distance, and then you don't have to rush and then get the gun into an ADS position, then it really won't be a problem. I just wanted to demonstrate what the differences are during this guide for you guys. So we need to kill 15 PMCs while using this gun on any map excluding factory, and I have been showing you guys a few of the kills that I got while I was doing the task myself, just so that you can have some examples while I am talking and the video goes along. And luckily you can run any other gear that you want, or even gear that you need to use for other tasks at the same time, so you can go in as chatted out or as naked as you want. Your only goal is to basically just land the kill shot on PMCs with this gun. And so obviously that means that the goal is to run into people, and whenever we do need PMC kills, everyone has a favorite map that they go to in order to get the kills, and customs is probably the overwhelming favorite for the most part, and it is probably the most consistent map in terms of high PMC population. And on customs, players will primarily flock towards the dorms, either gas station or the Skelly Fortress and Crack House part of the map. But if you are doing tasks on other maps, obviously you can go and do that also and just bring the SVDS with you, and if you happen to run into PMCs, then you'll just passively work away at Punisher Part 6, and essentially you will be able to double dip on your task by doing that. Also, another tip is to know your PMC spawns, especially on Shoreline, Interchange Reserve, and Lighthouse, because you can potentially snag a quick kill off the rip a lot of the time on those maps, or you can also prevent yourself from being killed 30 seconds into the raid also. And then another trick that you can use is to pop a red flare and then use that as bait, especially on the bigger maps, and then you can potentially even get a kill towards your shooterborn if you are lucky. Although I have found that a lot of people do not fall for the airdrop bait as much anymore. And when you are using this gun, you should definitely adjust your playstyle a bit and slow yourself down, because just W keying around the map, you will definitely get yourself killed more often than not, and it's not a bad idea to take any advantage that you can while doing this task, especially using your wide angle flanks and using your right angle peaks, as well as keeping your engagements from a mid to long range form, and also trying to third party people whenever the opportunity arises. The more times that you are able to get the first shot, the easier that your life will be for this task, because of the gun being semi-auto and having relatively high recoil. It will give you a margin of error that you won't have if they do see you and shoot at you first. Now, one positive thing about using this gun is actually the ammo. There isn't really any bad ammo choices for the 7.62x54R. Even the bottom tier T46 is honestly pretty viable. And basically it just comes down to, if you hate ammo with tracers, then don't use the T46 or the BT, or if you want an ammo with a higher pen to take out heavily geared players, then just stick with SMB, which you can craft in your workbench, but if you are not crafting it, then it can be difficult to get your hands on it. So when I was doing the task myself, I stuck with a mixture of BT, PS, and SMB. Basically I just used whatever I had the most of at the time. So hopefully you guys found this guide and gameplay examples useful, and did give you some more ways to improve your approach when taking on probably my least favorite task in the game. Thank you all so much for stopping by and watching the video, and have a fantastic rest of your day. So hopefully you guys found this guide useful and did help you to complete this task. What you're seeing on the screen right now is just a couple of my different social links in case you guys wanted to connect more easily, to either ask me questions regarding Tarkov in general, or to potentially get some extra help on your tasks that you're unable to complete, or even just to get some raids in just for fun. I am primarily streaming on Twitch now multiple nights a week, so if you do want to connect with me, that would probably be the easiest place to do so. And if you do happen to come over to Twitch, and if you want to join the Discord, then just type !Cord or Discord in the chat, and then you will get a link invite in that way. Or if you don't use Twitch, then I do have the Discord link posted here in this image. We do have a welcoming community that will be able to help you guys with any questions that you may have, or they're always looking to play with new players, and we have been playing with a bunch of my YouTube subscribers. So as always, thank you guys so much for stopping by and watching the video, and have a fantastic rest of your day.